$36 trillion. That's how much America owes right now, and it's growing by $1 trillion every 100 days. If you owed that much money, you'd lose your home, your car, everything. So why hasn't America collapsed? Here's the secret they don't want you to understand. America's debt isn't like your debt. It's not even real debt in the way you think about it. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the biggest economic threat to your future might actually be trying to pay it off. Let me take you back to 1981. Ronald Reagan stands in front of Congress, holding up a dollar bill, warning Americans that our national debt has reached a catastrophic $1 trillion. Politicians on both sides called it a national emergency, the end of the American dream. Fast forward to today, we've passed that catastrophic number 36 times over. And yet, you still got your coffee this morning, your paycheck cleared, Netflix still streams. So what happened? Did we just get used to the apocalypse? No, something far stranger happened. We discovered that everything we thought we knew about debt was wrong. See, when you or I go into debt, we're playing by one set of rules. But when you're the country that prints the money everyone else needs, you're playing a completely different game. And here's what terrifies economists late at night. We're not sure anyone actually knows how this game ends.
Let's talk about your debt first, because that's real. When you take out a mortgage, you make a promise: pay it back or lose your house. When you max out your credit card, the consequences are brutal. Interest piles up, your credit score tanks, collectors call. You live in a world of consequences. But America made different rules. Rule number 1, America prints the money it owes. Think about that for a second. Imagine if you could legally print cash in your basement to pay your mortgage. You'd never actually be broke, would you? That's America's first superpower. Every dollar of debt, it's owed in dollars that America creates. Rule number 2, the whole world wants to lend to America. When you're drowning in debt, nobody wants to lend you more debt. But when America goes deeper into debt, countries are literally fighting each other to loan us more. Why? Because a U.S. Treasury bond is the safest asset on planet Earth. Safer than gold, safer than any bank, safer than stuffing cash under your mattress. But here's what keeps me up at night. While America plays by these special rules, you don't. Your student loans, real debt, real interest, real consequences. Your medical bills, they'll garnish your wages. Your mortgage, miss 3 payments and you're on the street. So when politicians say we need to tighten our belts and cut Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, remember, they're cutting your benefits to manage a debt that works completely differently than yours. They're asking you to sacrifice for a problem that might not even be a problem.
Okay, let's pull back the curtain. How does this actually work? When the government needs money, it doesn't go to a bank. It issues Treasury bonds. Think of a bond as an IOU. Loan us $1,000 today, we'll pay you back $1,050 in a year. Investors, banks, other countries, they buy these bonds, not out of charity, because they're profitable and safe. Now here's the key. America pays interest on that debt, about $800 billion a year right now. That sounds like a lot, and it is. But here's the trick. When those bonds come due, America doesn't actually pay them back. It issues new bonds to pay off the old ones. It's like using one credit card to pay off another, forever. Now, if you tried this, you'd end up in a debt spiral. But America, it works. Why? Because the economy keeps growing. Think about it like this. Imagine you're 25 years old making $30,000 a year and you take out a $10,000 loan. That's rough, right? 33% of your income. But now imagine you're 40 making $150,000 a year. That same $10,000 loan? It's pocket change. You barely notice the payment. That's America's bet.
As long as the economy grows faster than the debt, we never have to truly pay it back. But what if the economy stops growing? What if the interest payments get so big that they crowd out everything else? What if the world stops trusting us? That's when this house of cards collapses.
Here's what they don't tell you in economics textbooks. Debt doesn't just disappear. Someone, somewhere, always pays. Meet Margaret. She's 72, worked as a nurse for 45 years. She paid into Social Security her entire life. That was the deal. You work, you pay in, you get benefits when you retire. But every time Congress talks about the debt crisis, they talk about reforming entitlements. That's code for cutting Margaret's benefits. Margaret didn't create this debt. She didn't bail out the banks in 2008. She didn't vote for tax cuts that cost trillions. But she'll pay for it by eating less, by skipping medications, by choosing between heating and eating. Or meet James, 26 years old, just graduated with $80,000 in student loan debt. He did everything right, studied hard, got good grades, believed in the system. Now he's working 2 jobs to make minimum payments on loans that will take 20 years to pay off. Meanwhile, the government that told him to invest in education gave corporations $4 trillion in COVID relief, much of it forgiven, no payback required. Here's the pattern. When billionaires need help, we must act immediately. The economy depends on it. When working families need help, we can't afford it. Think of the debt. Student loans, you pay them back, with interest, forever, even through bankruptcy. Corporate pandemic loans, forgiven, by the billions. The debt is too high to fix bridges, fund schools, or give teachers a raise. But we just approved an $850 billion defense budget with bipartisan support, without even debating it. So when someone tells you America can't afford something, what they really mean is we've decided not to spend money on you. The debt isn't the problem, it's the excuse. Now here's where this gets truly mind-bending. If America actually paid off its debt, we'd probably trigger the worst economic crisis in human history. Remember those Treasury bonds, the safest asset on Earth? Every bank on the planet holds them. Every pension fund, every insurance company, every retirement account, including yours. U.S. Treasury bonds are the foundation of the global financial system. They're what safe means. Now imagine we actually paid off the debt. No more Treasury bonds. What happens to safe assets banks use as collateral? Gone. What happens to retirees who depend on bond interest? Gone. What happens to the global financial system that's built on the assumption that U.S. debt is eternal and safe? Chaos. Here's the secret that economists whisper about but never say out loud. The debt isn't a bug, it's a feature. The global economy needs America to stay in debt. Still don't believe me? Look at what happened in 2001. Under Bill Clinton, America actually ran a surplus. We were paying down the debt, and Wall Street panicked. Bond traders started freaking out. Where will we put our money? What's safe now? The Treasury Department had to reassure markets. Don't worry, we'll keep issuing bonds even though we don't need to. So let me ask you something. If the debt is such a crisis, why does paying it off terrify the rich? Because for them, the debt isn't a crisis, it's an investment. They buy bonds, collect interest, park their wealth somewhere safe while the rest of us worry about Social Security cuts. The debt crisis is political theater. Meanwhile, the debt keeps growing, and the wealthy keep profiting from it.
Okay, so if the debt itself isn't the crisis, what should we actually worry about? There are 3 real threats. Threat number 1, interest payments eating everything. Right now, we spend about $800 billion a year just on interest. If interest rates stay high, that number could hit $1.5 trillion within a decade. That's when things get scary, not because we can't pay it, but because every dollar spent on interest is a dollar not spent on you. Threat number 2, the dollar loses its throne. America's superpower is that everyone needs dollars. If the world stops needing dollars, all those trillions we printed come flooding back home, and that's when inflation goes from annoying to catastrophic. Threat number 3, weaponizing the debt. Every few years, politicians hold the debt ceiling hostage, threaten default, shut down the government. While they play these games, veterans don't get their benefits, federal employees miss paychecks, markets panic, all over a debt that we know will get raised anyway. So here's where we are. America's debt isn't like your debt. It probably can't be paid off, and trying to pay it off might actually break everything. But that doesn't mean we ignore it. The real question is, what are we getting for it? If we're going into debt to build infrastructure, fund education, modernize the power grid, that's an investment. But if we're going into debt for tax cuts that mostly help billionaires or wars that don't end, then we have a problem. We're the richest nation in human history. We can afford anything we want. The question is, what do we value? Because here's the truth. The debt isn't your burden to carry. You didn't create it. You don't benefit from it. And you don't have to accept the solutions that only hurt you. 36 trillion and counting. The debt isn't the crisis. The priorities are.